can you give us a tour of what we're seeing in the images and point out the differences in the lens's characteristics?
Yep. I mean, the main things I'm seeing besides the giant neutral colored flares that are coming off of those bulbs in the background, obviously you get a lot more flare and you get that neutral flare with the Silver Edition Orion, but you also have distinct but subtle qualities related to the way focus is falling off. So if you look at her face in the image, you can see that the skin tones look a little bit different, and also the best point of focus is slightly different. So her nose is falling off more in the foreground on the Silver Edition lens, and that's because you have more of a 30-70 split. So 30% of the foreground will hold in focus, but 70% past the best point of focus holds. And the Orion series standard edition is optimized for a 50-50 through focus, where 50% of the foreground and 50% of the background should retain about the same amount of quality of focus from the best point of focus. And you can also notice that there's a little bit less contrast in the Orion series Silver Edition, and the way that that is overall rendering her skin tone is showing pretty well in this example.
Speaking specifically about Mercury, from a characteristic point of view, what was carried over from the learnings of the Orion series, and now that we look at a comparison between all three?
One of the things about a Mercury series lens compared to an Orion series lens that you'd want to consider is, if you love Orion series lenses, you will probably also love a Mercury series lens because it has vintage characteristics. There's barrel distortion, which is a vintage anamorphic geometric perspective style. You will have flares. They're not blue. They're going to be more of a golden amber color. So if you hate blue flares, you might like these golden amber flares. And we focused on controlling contrast and resolution in a different way. So the Mercuries are more center punched in terms of focus quality than an Orion. And so the center of the frame is going to be quite crisp, quite clear. And then you will have concentric circles that fall off after that out into full frame coverage. So you are going to be able to cover full frame sensors and beyond with a Mercury series lens, but you're going to have more fall off. So if you want a more funky image, use a larger sensor. If you want a cleaner, more controlled image, use a slightly smaller or more traditional sensor size. The other thing about the Mercury is that we focused on making them near apochromatic, so there's almost no color aberration laterally or axially. So you'll have basically little to no fringing anywhere in the image, but you still will have all those vintage geometric characteristics in terms of geometric distortion in a barrel style.